Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the next episode of the BRIO in the Box podcast. What are we going to talk about today?
So today we're going to talk about what makes a good CrossFit affiliate. And we got talking about this because we've had a few visitors lately that loved what we did and said very great things, and that was awesome. And then you and I have also been to many, many different CrossFit gyms, you especially because with all your travels. So we thought we would discuss what is it other than saying CrossFit BRIO, what makes a good CrossFit affiliate.
How do you know you're at a good CrossFit gym? Well,
BRIO
if you open your eyes and it says CrossFit BRIO on the wall, that's probably a pretty good sign. No, in all seriousness, what makes a good CrossFit affiliate? The way things work with CrossFit affiliation, you pay a license fee to use the CrossFit name. But beyond that, CrossFit is very free market in the way affiliates get to run. We get a ton of freedom from HQ in the way we get to run our businesses. So it's kind of cool. There's this genetic diversity in the ecosystem of CrossFit that affiliates can be very different, good or bad.
Yeah.
And the idea being that the free market will support the good ones and the bad ones will filter out. So, but how do you know when you're at a good CrossFit gym?
So we came up with a pretty big list, and it's not that you do one of these things and you're officially a great CrossFit gym. It's more like the more of these things you're doing, the better you're probably doing. But also, if you're not doing one of these things, that doesn't necessarily mean you're doing a bad job. It's just we're looking for total like 7 out of 10 or whatever.
The more boxes you tick, the chances are the better quality CrossFit affiliate you're in the presence of.
Right.
Some of them are necessary but not sufficient, as in you pretty much have to have them, but that's not the only thing that you have to have. And some of them are nice bonuses, not required, but certainly better.
And then some of them are like, if you're not doing this, you're going to have a hard time justifying that you're a good CrossFit gym because some of these are very important.
Yeah. Let's go to the first one. I would say the first thing we put on our list is that the community of people at that gym are friendly.
Yeah. That's one of those ones where if you go to visit a different gym and your initial reaction is this place doesn't seem very welcoming, that's a huge red flag. And that's probably going to turn you off from ever going back there again. Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason I picked community first, that the people should be friendly, is because that's a trickle-down effect of the leadership in the gym. That's the type of situation that the leaders, the coaches, and owners have created in that gym. Second, we put that the coaches are welcoming. Mm-hmm. Someone should say hi to you when you walk in the door, someone that works there. In the class, the coach should introduce themselves to you if they haven't met you before, and there should be a spirit of hospitality when you come into someone else's affiliate. But I feel like if the coaches and owners are doing that from the top, then the general spirit is of camaraderie and friendly and welcoming among all the members. And so even if the coach was busy or even if someone was tied up at the front door and you walked in and, you know, we're like looking around, you're new here, someone should pick up on that and be like, hey, I'm whoever, what's your name, that kind of thing. That the whole community should be welcoming.
Yeah, I think that one of the main differentiators between hopefully a CrossFit gym and just a regular global gym is the community factor. Mm-hmm. You go to a global gym and for the most part, you have your headphones on and you're doing your own thing. And maybe the person at the door says hi to you and that's about it. Mm-hmm. But at CrossFit, it should be like, that's the thing that everybody gathers together and does it together and has a lot of fun. And the coach is being paid. So of course they should be welcoming. That's their job to include everybody. But if they're doing a good job and that's part of their business model, then everybody's going to be welcoming and friendly and outgoing and chatty and just make you feel like you're part of something. Mm-hmm.
And I think as encouragement to our members or really anybody of any affiliate, you should go be the new person at an affiliate once in a while. It's a good learning experience. I actually just had a great conversation with one of our members who had dropped into an affiliate in Vancouver. And it was like not the friendliest experience, like not a bad thing. He said the facility was fine, the coaching was fine, the workout was fine, but just kind of that vibe of nobody was really friendly, nobody really talked to him. The coach didn't make the effort to introduce him and say, hey, this is whoever he's visiting from this place. And, you know, hospitality basically is what that is. And he's like, you know, despite the fact that everything else was pretty fine, he's like, next time I go back to that city, I would probably try a different CrossFit gym because people won't remember what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel. But then he had the perspective to be like, oh, now I know what it's like to be the new guy and feel a little out of place. And so the next time he sees someone in our affiliate that's new or dropping in, he's much more likely to go over and be welcoming because you know what it feels like to be on the other side in that person's shoes. So I was like, oh, that's a good insight too. Just human to human. What does it feel like to be the new person, fish out of water in a different affiliate?
So when we, like years ago, we were in Portland and we went to 3 different affiliates and one of them probably had the nicer facility, but was so uncomfortable to be there. The community was fine as far as I remember, but the coach was not friendly at all and very like...
She was an asshole.
Abrupt and rude. Yeah, just like it was unpleasant to work with her, even though she was actually trying to coach people on their movement and she was trying to run the class. It was just so hard to be around her. For me, it was like, I would never want to come to this place ever again. And then shortly after that, we went to another place that the guy was like a Labrador, super friendly, super accommodating. And he didn't tick off some of these other boxes that we're going to go through right away here. But because he was so friendly and welcoming, we were like, well, we would definitely choose this place first. So probably the most important thing is making people feel welcome, being hospitable.
Yeah. If you're just like fun to be around, you can get away with a lot of deficiencies otherwise in the business.
And that being said, everybody has bad days, and maybe she was having a terrible day and she was trying her best, just trying to get through it. But there wasn't enough of the community to pick up the slack that she was missing to justify how bad she was being. So yeah, if you're having a bad day, coaches, maybe say to one of the other people like, hey, I need some backup on this one today.
I'm going to tell you the real story of what happened. So the strength skill was muscle snatches, which I'm a good weightlifter and was fairly competitive in weightlifting at the time, but it's not a movement I regularly train or was that acquainted with. And I was using 75 pounds. She doesn't know me. We just met. She hasn't asked anything about my experience level or my strength numbers or my injuries for that matter. And just walks by and goes, is that all you're going to do? And I was like, what? I was like, yeah, because I'm actually just like not that familiar with this movement. And that seems like an appropriate weight for me. And I was just like, what, my God, is this? Anyway, that's an aside. It was very off-putting and I would absolutely have never gone back to that affiliate if that was my experience. Whereas the other one that you mentioned, the guy was great. The community was friendly. You know, he was coaching and having a good time with people. But the deficiency in that place was it was very dirty.
Yeah.
Not very well maintained, dust bunnies everywhere, that kind of thing. So I would say our next criteria for what's a good CrossFit affiliate, the gym is clean.
Yeah. There's a lot of corners in a gym that tend to get neglected. And generally, if you have a lot of stuff everywhere, that's where the dust bunnies accumulate. If you don't have somebody that's cleaning, like vacuuming and mopping or doing the floor machine every single day, it definitely gets pretty nasty in there. And then another thing is just bathrooms.
Yeah.
Bathrooms, especially when you're in, not to be sexist, but a dude's gym that's got like a BJJ studio attached to it. And sometimes it's bad. Yeah. And
boys are gross.
Yeah, but like girls are gross too. Trust me, I do the maintenance at our gym and I've had more issues in the girls' gym than I have in the boys' gym.
Okay, people are just gross.
People are gross, but there needs to be somebody that's on top of it. When things get gross, somebody needs to deal with it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's always surprising to me when people come and visit CrossFit BRIO, they're always like, oh, your gym is so clean. And I'm like, thank you. And I'll pass along the compliment to our team of Karma Cleaners, members at our gym that clean it and care about it. But also I'm like, do people not clean their gyms? And frankly, there are a lot that are quite grungy, dirty. I'm in a lot of CrossFit affiliates and even teaching seminars, like people are having a seminar at their gym. They're having guests into their gym. And I'm like, you guys didn't think to bust out the vacuum like the Friday night before you host a seminar at your affiliate? But that's just not on the radar of some affiliate owners.
Yeah.
But I think of it like this. No one is going to be offended if your gym is clean.
Yeah.
100% of people are going to enjoy that. If your gym is dirty, like maybe half the people won't care, but half the people will really care. I don't want to do a burpee in a gym and come up with dog hair all over my shirt or feel like I can't wear a white shirt because it's going to get all dirty. I just think it's a way of showing that you care.
Yeah.
Just having a clean and tidy gym is not sufficient to be a good affiliate, but I think it's necessary.
And I always feel bad for the evening class people because every day they're dealing with the entire day's worth of stuff because very rarely can you actually do a full clean in between your evening and daytime classes. Yep. So the morning people, the 6 a.m. come in, everything's sparkling and perfect and great and they get the best gym and then by 7:30 it's...
But our gym is cleaned every day.
It is.
At least people, have that privilege, but chalk is everywhere. Doors are open in the summertime. Stuff's blowing in. We do our best to keep it very clean. And you'll notice that in between, I'm always tootling around and have the mopper duster thing out. And
yeah.
I hate hidden dust bunnies. I hate dirty gyms. And I feel the same sense of hospitality of when our members come into our gym as if somebody came over to my house.
Yeah.
And I would tidy up my house if somebody came over, if somebody important that I cared about came over to visit. I would make sure it was tidy. Or at the very least, the messy bedroom where I shoved all the belongings and the mess, I would close the door. Give an appearance of tidiness.
I think what often happens is, for us anyways, we'll use something that we haven't used in a while, like maybe our strongman sandbags or our super heavy dumbbells or something. And so those will be out of their usual place. And then I'll look and be like, oh, gross. There's a whole bunch of dust bunnies and stuff underneath there. But that's when I just jump in there and take care of it while that stuff is out of the way. And then for affiliate owners out there, the thing to do is now make that mental note and be like, okay, I need to put on my calendar that once a month we need to move these things and vacuum or clean them or whatever, because clearly this is more than just a few days worth of stuff. This is like accumulated. So we have our things that we get cleaned every single day. And then we have other things like our ski ergs that get cleaned maybe once a month where they're all dusted and that kind of stuff. But you just need to be on top of that. Just this year, we got out an extender pole with a little Swiffer guy and we're like getting the cobwebs off the ceiling. That's not something you have to do very often.
I was doing sit-ups in a class one day and I could see the rafters in the ceiling. I was like, oh, that's gross. And then we're on it. We just, it's part of showing that you care.
Yeah.
I think basically. And along with things being clean, like literally dusted and vacuumed and mopped, it's also that the equipment is tidy and organized. Everything has a home.
Some people really love equipment. They are hoarders and they pack as much shit into their gym as they can. And that's great. If you're using it, awesome. But there needs to be an organized place for all that stuff to be. If you're climbing over Atlas stones to get to your rowers, that's not a good setup. You barely ever use the Atlas stones. You need to have somewhere that they can be stored, that they're out of the way and they're not causing a interference in the gym or they're not getting dirty and staying dirty. You just have to have somewhere for stuff to go.
And good systems make it easy for everybody. If there's a clear and organized method where everything returns to its place, that's easy for the members to just put their stuff back where they got it from. It's easy for the coach that closes in the evening to make sure everything's back in its little parking space. Like, we're a big fan of tape lines on the floor and everything just has a place. Mise en place, they call that.
Mise en place.
In a good kitchen.
Mise en place.
Mise en place. Everything in its place is like that's a kitchen cooking term.
Yes. And feng shui also. Make sure your gym is it feng shui? Feng shui?
Feng shui. I think it's fun to say.
It is a fun thing to say.
I mean, I do like rooms with good flow. So maybe.
We've learned over the years, it's wild how if you put lines on the floor to direct people, it works. And when we had COVID times, we had to set up squares and you stay in your square and that 6 feet of whatever is going to save your life. Everybody was diligent about it. It worked really well. Yeah. So people will follow organization as long as you provide the organization.
Yeah. And again, that's another way of leadership from the top, showing that somebody cares. The equipment is well maintained. There isn't a half broken, rusty assault bike in the corner that nobody's bothered to fix in 6 months. There isn't, just piles of broken, unmaintained stuff everywhere. So if the equipment is well maintained and organized and tidy, it's just somebody in this place cares about that, because those things don't just happen on their own. Those are tasks that somebody has to complete.
And the other thing as well with equipment is like incorporating new stuff once in a while, right? Either swapping out the old broken stuff, or just last year we bought little pack sleds that we can use indoors throughout the year. And it was like one of the best investments we ever made. They're awesome. We use them all the time. They're great. Everybody loves them. And it didn't cost a ton of money. So just having those little new things to play with once in a while is awesome.
A full fleet of ski ergs joined the family a few years ago. Those things, the echo bikes, right? Every few years. And that's just part of reinvesting in the business. Is the longer we chug away at this, is you just accumulate more cool stuff to do cool stuff with. Next on our list, of course, I would say this. You're at a good CrossFit affiliate when it's actually a CrossFit affiliate. Licensed on CrossFit.com as an actual affiliate. There's a bit of a thing happening of either gyms that were never affiliated in the first place, or they were, and they decide they just don't want to pay the fee anymore and they drop their affiliate. But they continue to do everything in their power to make it look like they're a CrossFit affiliate. Hashtag CrossFit on their Instagram, calling things CF, but then being like, oh, it stands for community fitness. Like, yeah, sure. Clearly using the methodology, even doing CrossFit workouts like Murph or the open workouts or these kinds of things, which I just think sucks. I think that's a sign that someone sucks. That's a red flag for me to be like, well, you're going to be a leech of everything good from the methodology in the community, but you're not going to pay your dues. And to me, that's the equivalent of a person that won't pay a membership fee at the gym, but stands outside the window in the parking lot and follows along with everything that we did in the affiliate. You're like, just get in here and pay your dues already or fuck off.
Yeah.
Like one of the two, pick a side, you know? So yeah, the place is an actual CrossFit affiliate.
Yeah. And I think part of that as well, and this gets into our next point too, is having some sort of accountability for what credentials do you have to be a trainer? You know, if you're just a freestyle personal training / CF community fitness place, who knows what you're doing for your education and for your standards and all of that. Where if you have a governing body of some sort, at least you're held accountable to maintain some level of standard. With our affiliation, we have to, renew our CPR. We have to do all kinds of continuing education stuff. So I think there just needs to be some level of accountability at the highest level.
Mm-hmm. And I think for us, we've talked about this before, but I'll repeat it over and over because I think it's important. Being a CrossFit affiliate is about engaging with the CrossFit affiliate owner community. You're wearing the shirt right now, CrossFit Affiliate Summit in Banff that we went to. We took time at our own expense to go hang out with other affiliate owners to learn things from them. There's like a peer support group for affiliate owners when you're part of that community, in the same way that being a member of a CrossFit gym provides you a peer support group of like-minded individuals. And as an affiliate owner, if you're not regularly engaging in learning from other people doing the same thing as you and trying to gain knowledge and wisdom and best practices from those people, you're missing out. If you're like, I'm a lone wolf, I'm going to do this all by myself, I don't care how anybody does it, I'm not interested in learning, I don't want to have a network of people to learn from. That's a weird mentality to me.
I feel like you just get stagnant doing the same thing over and over again. And the whole thing that we're supposed to be doing is constantly varied. We're supposed to be changing up. We're supposed to be getting better. The owner, the coaches, they should be striving to get better at their craft as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's an actual CrossFit affiliate, which you can verify on CrossFit.com. I think, and this ties into what you were just saying about education and being the type of person that's continuously improving, I think the owner or the head coach or whoever's largely in charge should have their level 3.
At least.
Yeah. If they've been open for 5 years, somebody should have their level 3.
Yeah.
It's now a requirement that the licensee of record, the affiliate owner, has to have their level 2. So that's the bare minimum these days. So I think a good affiliate owner is going to be striving for more than the bare minimum.
Yeah.
The level 3 credential, the way this works in the CrossFit ecosystem for anybody outside of it that doesn't know. The level 1 is an introduction to the CrossFit methodology. It's a weekend course. The level 2 is a coaching course. So coaches go there to get feedback on their ability to teach CrossFit movements. Very different from the level 1. The level 3 is a written exam. It's a 4-hour licensing exam. Many people in whatever your profession is would probably be acquainted with writing some kind of big licensing exam.
Yeah.
So it's just a test of knowledge. You go do it at a testing center. You pay a testing fee and go sit in a little room with a computer for 4 hours and some headphones on. And then the level 4 is an in-person evaluation of your ability to do your job. So I think to become a physiotherapist, you have an exam you have to pass, and you also have an oral exam, an in-person evaluation. So the CrossFit credentialing system is very similar. Mm-hmm. Written exam for level 3, in-person evaluation of your skills for the level 4. I think it's less than 1% of all people that go through the level 1 will go on to get their level 3.
Oh, wow.
So if you are in the presence of a coach or an affiliate owner with a level 3, you're in the presence of the 1%. That's a good affiliate. That's a good coach.
Yeah. And again, it shows that you care if you're pursuing your own education, your own performance. The level 1 is a great course. Tons of people have done it. It sets you up to start your process of learning how to be a coach, but that's about it. Level 2 is an evaluation of how are you doing so far? And that's great. It's an awesome course. It's well worth doing. But I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's that's it. I'm done. I'm good to go. I can coach CrossFit for the rest of my life. The level 3 is a challenging exam and it tests your knowledge, which is great. But I think everybody that's doing this as a profession should be pursuing the level 4, because that's how you know that not only is your knowledge there, but your actual hands-on abilities are there as well. Mm-hmm. Really good thing about both the level 3 and the level 4 is that once you have them, it's no longer a recertification process in that you just go take your level 3 again, or you just go take your level 4 again. Instead, now we switch to a continuing education system where you have to go out and find ways of educating yourself via online courses, or go travel and do seminars, or whatever it might be. You need to get a certain amount of credits every 3 years to maintain your credential. And that means pursuing knowledge and bettering yourself and improving your craft. That's the important part with that for sure.
Yeah, I've seen, coaches and affiliate owners that previously would just go take their level 1 every 5 years. And I mean, I think there's something to be gained. Every time I teach a level 1, I learn things. So it's not like you're learning nothing. But I just feel like if you're not a person that's interested in leveling up your skills, your knowledge, or getting any more feedback, or expanding the horizons of things you could learn about even outside the CrossFit bubble, to me, that's a red flag. That's not a person that's deeply invested in delivering a better product and service for the members that they get the privilege to coach. So we've said it's our goal at CrossFit BRIO to be the highest credentialed CrossFit gym in Canada, but also I would like other affiliate owners to be on that mission too. And I would love for Canada to have the highest density of level 3s and 4s of anywhere in the world per number of affiliates. So we actually have a little level 3 study buddy thing available if anybody out there in the world of CrossFit needs a little push, a little help to break down. There's a mountain of material to get through for the level 3 exam. It takes at least 6 months of studying, they say, to get through it all. We're here to help. So shoot us a message if you want to get in on leveling up.
And it's a great process. Just going through all of those old articles and stuff reinvigorates you and helps steady the ship and reminds you why you're doing this and why it's such a benefit to be part of the greater CrossFit community. It's really super beneficial to pursue the exam.
Yeah. And there's all aspects of, we're talking about bringing excellence to a CrossFit affiliate and showing people that you care in a variety of different actions. I think a basic, to never sleep on the basics is to start and end your classes on time.
Yeah, that's kind of just, we were joking about that. We did a podcast earlier today and the guy asked us, we were talking about programming, he asked us, well, what happens if you end up running long on your strength thing and you don't have enough time for your cardio thing? I was like, we're 17 years into this. Like, we don't run overtime. What are you talking about? Just giving him a hard time. But the reality is, if you've been doing this long enough, you should have your shit figured out. That if you ever run long, it's like a minute or two, and that's your first class, and then you correct it for the next one, and then you're perfect for the rest of the day. Starting and ending on time is like a D-. That's like the minimum thing you need to do to pass.
Very necessary, but not sufficient.
Yeah.
I think it shows care. You put care into your class plan. You know what you're doing. You respect people's time. I think starting on time, regardless of whether people are late, is also a way of showing care and respect for the people that did get their shit together and get there on time.
Yeah.
A class of 8 people should not wait for people 9 and 10 to show up 3 minutes late. That's their problem. The people that were there deserve to start on time and get the most out of their session. They shouldn't be made to wait around for people that didn't get there on time.
Especially your morning classes and your noon hour class, like those are the ones that people have to get to work and they're planning on getting out of there at whatever time. You need to stick to that schedule no matter what.
And so I think running a class, starting and ending on time, goes into planning. The more skilled you get, the more experience you have, you can plan pretty quickly and almost by feel. You know exactly how long things are going to take and what time you need. And, you barely even have to look at your watch and you could know exactly. Like, I ran 5 classes in a row the other day and my 3, 2, 1 go started to the minute at the exact same time. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm not even necessarily trying to be that precise, but I was like, I just know exactly how long everything is and where you can go a little longer or where you have to tighten up a bit. And I was like, oh, it's like being able to shoot with your eyes closed probably when you get to be a sharpshooter. And when you're newer to it, then it's just a bit more deliberate. It's like typing, maybe when you can do it just like without looking and so fast. And in the beginning, you have to look a little more and you have to be a bit more deliberate. So maybe your class plan is pen to paper and maybe you have to try some things yourself and see how long they take and you have to time stuff. And you also have to be willing to throw the plan out the window if things are taking longer than you thought and cut some things on the fly. So be a planner, but also be adaptable, which is a tough skill set to have both of those things.
Yeah. We've done this a lot. Like, we're old. We've done this forever, 17 years. But it's the rule of 10,000, If you do something 10,000 times, you're probably going to be pretty damn good at it. And over the years, we've coached so many freaking classes that whenever one of my newer coaches is like, oh man, how do you do it like that? Well, I've done this so many times. I've screwed up a million times along the way, but I paid attention to those screwed ups. And I thought, okay, what do I need to do to make this better? I'm confident now that I could walk into any gym and with a group of strangers that I don't know, have somebody else hand me a workout, and on the spot, I feel like I could run a good class, just like out of nowhere. And if I didn't 100% nail it on the first one, the second one I would, because I'd learned from what went wrong on that first one, and I would correct it for the second one. When you're new to it, of course, you're going to make some mistakes, and that's great. You should be making mistakes. That's how you learn. But you have to self-evaluate, and you have to ask for feedback, and you have to try to make the process better so that you can get to the point where you barely have to think about it anymore. You just sort of do.
And then that delivery of the service in the class, the specific of what you pay for with a CrossFit membership, starting and ending on time, it goes into class management, class planning, but then also the programming.
Yeah.
At a good affiliate, the programming is either done in-house, like it is at BRIO, or if it's purchased from a third party, at the very least, there's some thought going into modifying that pre-purchase, that generic programming to make it fit the space, the people, the equipment, the level of the individuals, to make it fit that community. So either you're making pizza from scratch at home and it's amazing, or maybe you pre-buy the dough, but you come home and roll it out and put your own toppings on.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, ordering the pizza, that's not nearly the quality that it would be as if it was made with love by hand. My
hierarchy for this is the best programming is done in-house by a qualified coach that knows what they're doing. They have enough knowledge and experience to know what works and what doesn't work, and they're willing to experiment and try things and get feedback and watch the development of their athletes and all of that. That's premier. That's A1. The next step down is taking one of the other options, the cap or Mayhem or whatever it might be, but modifying it to appropriately fit your gym. If it's too much volume for your athletes, or the RX weight is like twice what your strongest athlete should be doing, being smart enough to take it and modify it, and don't even let them see the full version. Let them see their version, and that way they can get excited about being able to RX things. And you don't have to say, well, at Mayhem, they're using 315 pounds. We're going to use 225. You just say, this is 225. That's the RX. So your ability to take a good program done by some other professional and make it work for your gym is kind of like the next tier down. From there, I would say the next tier is just blindly following Mayhem or a different program of some sort. I feel like at least there's somebody that knows what they're doing that's coming up with the structure of the program. So that's great. But then the bottom, the worst option is trying to do your own program if you suck at it and you have no idea what you're doing, because now there's just like the monkeys are running the asylum. Like you have no idea what you're doing. You're going to hurt people. You're going to overtrain people. It might be shitty. It might be just too much or not enough or whatever. Now, at some point, we all start at that level, but maybe don't use that on your whole population. Maybe come up with some ideas and play with them yourself and try to get an idea of what works and what doesn't. And if you can kind of hone your craft and get to the point where you've got some level of stability, you can start to program for yourself. But a good way to do that is by following somebody else's program and then catering it towards your abilities. I'm just going to say, if you're following someone else's program, at least you can be learning from them. Yeah. What is it? Why is the workout this when yesterday was that? What do I think might come up tomorrow? And try to at least understand the structure and the flow of some presumably well-designed program. Yeah. So I think if you're going into an affiliate and you're in a class doing a drop-in like we do all the time somewhere else, the programming needs to allow for coaching to actually happen. So the experience in the class, besides the coach being welcoming, someone says hi to you, the members are friendly. Now it's start time. We're starting on time. We got a good thing going. What happens now? Well, I think the coach should be running the warm-up. The coach should be teaching the movements for that day, running a specific warm-up in a progression, getting people like physically getting their joints and muscles ready to do that movement. But then also teaching in a progression and what are the important points you need to know today, and calling reps and looking at your movement and saying either good job or here's how to make it better. There's some actual process of coaching going on. And then that ties into the programming, because the programming has to allow for that to happen. A lot of these third-party programs, like all of them, most of them, other than maybe CAP, favor volume. There's just stuff instead of coaching, or therefore intensity, being able to work in intensity. There's just, here's more things to do. And it's part A and part B and part C. And the experience of the class just becomes herding cats around. And then there's too much to do in an hour anyway. So now we're running long and nobody's learning anything and it's confusing, it's chaotic. And you're like, this is a bad experience. Yeah. If your class involves, all right, here's the workout, go get your stuff and then we'll get started. what's going on? Like you could do that in a garage somewhere. What's the point of that? Yeah. And if you have so much to do that's literally all you can do is set up and go, you're not paying for coaching. You're just paying for a workout. And most places give that shit away for free on their website. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you need to find a place that's willing to take the time to actually work on movement, teach. The other thing for me is warm-ups too. Mm-hmm. I strongly dislike when a gym has their standard warm-up that they do every single day, especially when it's really mundane stuff. All right, everybody go for a 400-meter run. Okay, now we're going to do these 3 stretches and then these 3 activations and then this little thing. All right, we're ready. What if we spent 5 minutes warming up our shoulders, but all we're doing in the workout is running and deadlifts? That was 5 minutes of wasted time. You don't need to warm up your shoulders a whole bunch if all you're doing is deadlifting and running. That time could be spent on like running technique or better preparing the core for deadlifting or whatever. I just hate when people don't put any kind of thought. They just go on autopilot and just, well, it'll work. It's good enough. Well, no, good enough isn't it. What do we need to do to be properly prepared for this workout?
Yeah, so therefore, the programming gives the coach the space to run a proper warm-up, general warm-up, get people moving, maybe some community time. Maybe you're watching who's moving differently, what's going on. You're getting a read on everybody. Then you get into the specific warm-up that gives you time to teach and coach and make corrections and stuff. I've kind of noticed in the lower quality gyms, there's a confusion between just demoing what the movement is.
Yeah. Here's
a power clean and coaching the power clean. Those are 2 completely different things.
Sure.
So I think demonstration is one aspect of coaching. You've got to show people what the movement is, but breaking it down into a progression to get people like warmed up and moving well, and then also the opportunity to do some seeing and correcting to actually help people get better. Crazy idea.
Yeah. And some classes, everybody's just moving really well. And that's great. That's a sign that they've been taught properly and now they all just move well. Mm-hmm. At the very least, you can go around and be like, good. Yep. Looks good. Yep. Oh, deeper. But you got to give people something, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's positive or negative, give them something. Participate in their development.
I've had some of those questions at a level 2, maybe call it pushback. Well, my members are like pretty experienced, so like I don't have to teach them what the snatch is. And I was like, okay, I bet if I walked into your gym, I would find plenty of things to see and correct. Like
snatch of all things.
I doubt that your members are moving so beautifully that there isn't one single thing we could improve.
Yeah.
So A, there's that. But B, if I snatch by myself in my garage, guess what I'm doing? Warming up. Mm-hmm. Dip and shrug. Dip, shrug, elbows, turn over, snatch, drop, overhead squat. Like regardless of your level of experience, you still need to warm up. So you still need to go through the movement in, we'll call it a progression, in the parts and pieces just to get your joints warm. And if the coach is also saying some things that are helpful while you're going through those necessary motor patterns anyway, I don't see anybody that's harmed by that.
And that comes back to the warm-ups. I've been to a lot of different CrossFit gyms that this is the structure. You come in, you're like, okay, guys, here's our warm-up, and you start warming up with wall balls and whatever. It's like a little mini Metcon that they use for their warm-up. Mm-hmm. And then that takes up enough time that they're like, okay, guys, everybody grabs your bar. Here's what we're doing. And they show you the thing. They're like, all right, let's go. And you start doing it. You know, there's no progressions. Mm-hmm. You just wasted all of your warm-up time on a mini workout. Why not start with PVCs and do some drills and skill work with no weight at all to actually teach them something? Mm-hmm. They're going to get warm. Anybody who ever did the old school Bergener weightlifting course knew how hard it was to just hold onto a PVC and hold these different positions for seconds at a time. You're gassed by the end of it. It's freaking hard. So you can make much better use of your warm-ups just by putting some thought into what's the point of what we're doing today and how do I make my warm-up fit in with the theme of the day. Mm-hmm.
So I think this goes into coaching and teaching. A good CrossFit affiliate for me has a physical whiteboard.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm old.
Yep.
It's a fair criticism. It's true. But I feel like if you're one of the TV gyms, we call this Wadify syndrome when we drop into an affiliate and we're like, oh, the coach like scroll. There's the workout. Okay, guys, get your stuff out. Scroll. Here's part 2. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
And a lot of them literally have the warm-up on there too.
Yeah.
They're like, here's the warm-up. You guys go ahead and get started. And you literally have no interaction with the coach. And they're like, okay, here's our strength thing we're doing today. If you guys want to grab some bars, we'll get started. And then that's it. Mm-hmm. And then, okay, here's the part. 0 effort.
Yeah. I still like the old school physical whiteboard. You can write all kinds of things on there besides just the workout of the day and the scores. Of course, there's that. What goes on our whiteboard? I was trying to even think of all the things I've used a whiteboard for lately. Writing pieces of the CrossFit methodology. every so often I'll sprinkle in like mechanics, consistency, intensity, it's in big letters, or the nutrition prescription, or the pyramid, or all these pieces, or I'll draw the fitness curve and try to teach people some things about why we train like this, why this is not interchangeable with a variety of other things that make you sweaty with cool people. Stick figures.
Yep.
You do stick figures on the board.
I like stick figures. Yeah. They're fun.
I like visuals for people that are visual learners. I'll bust out what the position of a deadlift should look like with the little stick figures. Warm-ups or reminders, or when we coach our Legends class, people that can't hear, they'll miss at least 50% of verbal instructions. It's a better delivery of what you need to know if you're accompanying verbal and visual together. That helps people learn better, helps people understand better.
Yeah. We have a few different whiteboards as well. We have our big one that we use for logging all the scores and all the main stuff. And then we have a couple of smaller rolling ones. So if you have a particularly complex warm-up or workout that you're doing, write in big letters what you want them to do and have it at 3 or 4 different spots in the gym. And that way they can, when they forget what they're doing next, they can look at the whiteboard and be like, oh yeah, that's right, squats next. It's so helpful in managing the flow of your class.
And I think the check-in with people at the end to get the score is like a touch point. People shouldn't just kind of finish and walk away and buy.
We have plenty of people that don't care at all about the scores, and that's fine. But that's not fine. But but at least you're holding them accountable, right? Yeah. Let's be honest with ourselves. What did you do? Good or bad? Just put your name on it and be like, I did this. Yeah. Or sometimes people will have a workout where they're like, well, I only got 3. But you know what, though? You got 3 more than 99% of the people in this city. So good for you. That's still a win. It's like a badge of honor. It's a way to hold yourself accountable. Be like, I know what I'm going to do today is going to get written down up there. So I'm going to try hard.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question. We're going to go kind of controversial next. How do you know you're at a good CrossFit gym? We've covered people are nice, the coaches are welcoming, the place is clean, the equipment's tidy, it's a licensed affiliate, they're part of the thing, they're into education, they start and end on time, the programming is good, they favor intensity, not volume. How do you feel about open gym?
Ooh, that is a controversial
Green flag or red flag?
For me, it's a depends. It's a beige flag.
Beige flag.
Yes. So we don't do open gym. And the reason we don't is because we pride ourselves on being a coaching facility. Mm-hmm. We want people to participate in our community. We want people to work under supervision. And so we do everything in classes currently. In the past, we did have more of a competitive type stuff and people would do things on their own. Now, it wasn't all bad, but it was often bad. So the reason it's a beige flag for me is I feel like if you have people that have a separate space that are making good choices and following some sort of plan that's structured and not overdoing it, not making bad choices, again, in a separate room, it's okay. But if they're clanging banging 5 feet away from where the class is going on and it's super distracting and other people are like, why are they doing that? We're not doing that. I feel like it just causes more harm than good for your greater community. We just focus on people that want to be healthy and fit until the day they die. So we've gotten away from the open gym thing.
I feel like, okay, open gym for me is, it's not a certainty that this is not a good CrossFit affiliate, but it's certainly a red flag for me. I have questions. If it's well attended, why do people feel like they need to do things on their own outside of the class? And sometimes people are like, well, I need to work on skills. And when I'm like, okay, so, but you're saying then you're not doing that in the class. Something is wrong in the coaching or the programming then that you don't feel like you have the proper opportunity to learn and practice those movements in the classes. So then that just tells me something's wrong in the classes. Often, the job of the coach is to protect people from themselves. Good programming, like I said, favors intensity, not volume. But the novice's curse or the noob or the person that doesn't know what they're doing thinks more is more. I need to do more stuff to get fitter. I assure you that you don't. You just need to do less but better. Yeah. You need to try harder. You don't need a harder workout. You need to try harder on the workout. I believe that was an Adrian Conway quote, maybe. I don't know where that came from. And so that's the role of the coach, is to almost protect you from yourself, to talk you down off the ledge, to thinking that you need a part A and a part B and a part C. And if there's proper understanding of the CrossFit methodology, because you know it yourself as the coach and owner, and you do a good job of teaching it to your members, I feel like then there isn't a need for open gym. Caveat. Maybe you're a newer affiliate, you just don't have enough classes in the day yet.
Yep.
And so then during times that you just don't have enough people to justify running a class with a coach, but somebody's there and you're like, well, the gym is open. If the only time you can come and work out is at 1:30 in the afternoon, you can come to open gym. There's not a coach, there's not a class running, but so maybe it's some way that you make use of dead hours in the day.
I think a lot of the people that like to do the open gym are the people doing extra stuff. There's certainly some people, we've had people contact us that are traveling and they're like, hey, I have my own program I want to follow. Can I just come and do that? And we were like, absolutely not. That is not what we facilitate whatsoever. I don't care who you are or what you're doing. The $20 you want to pay me to drop in isn't worth completely ruining the class that you're there for. And I'm certainly not going to show up in the middle of the afternoon when we're closed to accommodate you. So I'm sorry, but that's just not our jam. Yep. I think that if you have athletes that want to do more stuff, that's up to you to decide whether that's something you want to do. We've done it in the past. And like I said, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not, but there needs to be some sort of structure. If you have people just come in and try to make up their own workouts, they make the same mistakes that I used to make way back in the day where you're like, I don't know, let's try this. This looks crazy. I saw this on the internet and it's like way too much or way too hard. I remember we used to have these two guys and they would egg each other on. They would come up with a workout together and they would show me this thing. And I'd be like, Jiminy Christmas, you guys are ending up in the hospital. This is way too much. Where'd you find this? And they're like, oh, well, we kind of took two different workouts and put them together. We thought it'd be really good. I'm like, bro.
You're like, this is why you need a coach.
Yeah. So there definitely needs to be some level of control. And I personally don't see the value in it for our members. So we just don't do it.
Mm-hmm. It's philosophically divergent from what we're all about. And I think people in open gym, almost everyone will agree, you don't work as hard when you're by yourself as when you're in a class with other people. So anything that you're doing on your own is going to have less intensity, therefore less results. You don't have a coach watching you. So almost certainly your mechanics, like your skill acquisition is going to be lower because nobody's helping you do those things better.
Yeah.
So then what's the point of that if there's just overall less results? You're getting less fit and you're not going to move as well. Your mechanics won't be as solid.
It's just like more ineffective volume.
Yeah.
Right? You're like not necessarily increasing performance, but you're increasing risk of injury. I think there's a lot of people out there that will argue, well, at a certain point, you need to train your weaknesses. And the thing that I always say to that is, for the majority of CrossFitters out there, relative to the top, all of your stuff is a weakness. Everything you do is a weakness. Unless you are at an elite level, I don't think you need to worry about training strength and weaknesses because you need to train everything. You just have to do it all. You just do. And same thing with training on your own. It takes a special type of person to be able to actually really push themselves to the limit without any kind of external stimulus, like people working out with you and chasing somebody or being chased by somebody. Mm-hmm. And even a lot of the games level people get together and train as a group because they know they push harder, right? So we all benefit from the community. We all benefit from working out and just feeding off of each other's energy.
We describe it as coach-led, community-driven, which means it's a training session with your team. So there's a community involved. You train harder and better and more fun with other people. And it's coach-led in that it's like training a sport with a coach that organizes the training session, has a plan for you, helps you get better at your skills. It's all those wonderful things. If you used to enjoy training with your team when you were younger and then you missed that, that's what we deliver. That's what we do.
And we'll have eyes on people, right? Like we can see when somebody's reached their limit and you can go over and be like, okay, enough. We need to take this weight down or we need to stop doing deadlifts because this is not helping you whatsoever. This is only harming you. Whereas if you're on your own, just like blasting away, you might not paying enough attention to notice that you're currently blowing up your spine with what you're doing. And there's nobody there to tell you, okay, you've reached your limit. That's enough.
Or I feel like more often it's a 5-round workout and you get 3 runs in and you're like, that's enough.
Yeah.
And you just pack up your bag and go home.
That's
because no one was really watching you. I feel like that's what happens more often.
That's the 99% for sure.
Yeah. So obviously this is our list we came up with of all the things. And I would hope that people feel that we're doing these things because it's our profession. We're trying to be not just a good affiliate, one of the best in the world. But I also think it's normal and healthy and should be expected that you go drop into other affiliates when you're in other cities, when you're traveling. Coach Adam is off to Japan and I was like, go drop into another affiliate when you're there. That's so cool. The opportunity to meet other CrossFitters, this place in the world. So many neat experiences come from dropping into another affiliate. And then maybe it's bad, no big deal, whatever. You got to work on it, it's fine. And then you come back with a little better appreciation for what we do, frankly. But how to find a CrossFit gym, how to find one, how to find a good one. So somebody contacted me, like, I'm going to be in Florida next week. What affiliate should I drop into? I'm like, okay, so here's the process. I go to map.crossfit.com. I don't go to Google.
Yeah.
Google can be full of all the fake ass affiliates that won't pay their fees that are trying to pretend like they're CrossFit gyms. And don't go there.
On top of that, if you search CrossFit on Google Maps, it'll show you like F45, it'll show you Orange Theory, because they all mess with the algorithm to make it so that they pop up as well.
So we go to map.crossfit.com, put in the city, it'll show you the little pins of all the actual CrossFit affiliates. You can click on each one, and CrossFit allows us as affiliate owners to fill in a profile that shows up on the directory listing. I think the good affiliates that are invested in all of the many tools that CrossFit makes available for us have filled in their profile. So that's a green flag for me. On that profile, it'll show you years affiliated. And if the affiliate has filled out all their info, it'll show you all the coaches. Their little pictures are attached to the gym, and it'll show you their credentialing level. So you're starting to gain some of these things that we're talking about. Being a new affiliate is not a red flag for me. Some of the best affiliates I've been in are brand new because they're super keen and enthusiastic to do a very good job.
Yeah.
Being an old affiliate is not necessarily a green flag. Some of the worst affiliates I've been in are old affiliates.
Yeah.
But it is cool if you're like, 12, 15 years, you're like, that's pretty legit. They've been around a long time. So that's probably more on the, like, you're looking at something good if they've managed to stay in business for a really long time. You can see on there if one or more of the coaches have their level 3. So there's another of your green flags. You can go to their website. It should be relatively simple to navigate and recently updated. If it's been neglected since 2012 and it's some old blogspot post, maybe not great. Check their social media, their Instagram. What are they about? Who are they about? What kind of people seem to be in this place? And then this is something else I do. If I have a few in the area and I'm not sure which one to pick, I go on the Games website, games.crossfit.com, search for the affiliate, and I look for who had decent participation in the open. Mm-hmm. Because that's a green flag for me. They're doing the thing. They're doing CrossFit. They have people doing the open. They're excited about it. It's a good community. Whereas if they had like 3 or 4 people do the open, and it's like, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Not that they need 200 people registered for the open, but there should be like a decent cohort of people participating in the thing.
But yeah, if it's a 10-year affiliate and everybody's a level 1, there's one level 2, and they've been kind of at it for a long time. And yeah, like you can tell they're not really going for it like some places might.
And then, heaven forbid, you have to move away from Saskatoon and you have to find a new affiliate. Then usually they'll allow you to do some drop-ins, and you would go and meet the coaches and get a vibe for the community. And you'd want to see these things, like we said, are people friendly? Is the place clean? What's the programming like? What's the coaching like? You'd want to get a feel for.
I think it's worth at least going to talk to somebody and ask questions, right? If you follow a program, like, why do you follow that program? And why is your class schedule the way it is? And like, just learn more about their whole thing, because they should be able to explain why they're doing things the way they're doing things. But then better yet, you should get to see it in person, and ideally try more than one class, because often that one class with that one coach might be great or terrible, but then you do another one and it's, again, terrible or great, depending on whatever coach you have. So it's good to get a little bit of an idea of what's this place like and what are some of the different workouts like before making any kind of major decisions. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people have to be open-minded that just because something is different than the way you're used to doesn't make it wrong.
Yeah.
Be open-minded to it. I'm going to tell a story. One time we had a couple contacted us, wanted to switch to BRIO from their previous affiliate, feeling banged up and sore joints and that kind of thing, and ended up they weren't happy with not being able to come into the gym 20 minutes ahead of the class to do their own warm-up before. Instead of giving it a chance and realizing that the reason that you feel banged up and your joints suck is because the previous coach wasn't doing a good job of coaching and running the warm-up with you. The fact that you had to warm up on your own prior to the class should have been a red flag to you. But instead, it was just what they got used to. They just were like, well, we're just on our own. The coach doesn't help us with this. And hadn't quite connected the dots and didn't quite give it enough of a chance to see that that was the problem, and that if you come and experience it in a different way, where we don't expect you to do anything ahead of time. In fact, I don't want you to do anything ahead of time. In fact, whatever you're doing ahead of time is probably unhelpful rather than helpful. So stop it.
Yeah.
You know, but it was you could tell that was just what they were used to. And then they came in and something wasn't what they were used to. And they were like discombobulated by that.
And that one was a weird one because they just like, you showed up at the gym and they never ended up coming in at all. And I remember messaging them afterwards and being like, you guys didn't make it in? They're like, oh no, we left because the coach wasn't there early enough for us to warm up. We need more time to warm up. And I was like what? And that was one of those moments where now I'm like, okay, just so you know, if you're coming to try a class, we're going to do all the warm-ups within the class. At the time, I didn't realize I had to tell them that, but it's a learning opportunity, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I think the longer you do something, and maybe it's just maturity as an adult, you stop trying to be everything to everyone.
Yeah.
You do what you do and you do it well, and you get less willing to compromise yourself or your quality for the sake of trying to make other people happy, trying to please everybody.
And that's another green flag as far as if you are a successful enough affiliate that you can start to not generalize and specialize, where it's okay for people that aren't a good fit to go elsewhere. That's a green flag for me. That's great. Yeah. If you are constantly having problems and everybody seems to want to go somewhere else, that's probably a red flag. But if it's just like, you're happy to let people go and, if you love something, let it go and they can go find something that's better fit for them, that's great.
Mm-hmm. So I think the final question is that people have sometimes is like, why does one CrossFit gym cost more than another one? So if you're looking at websites and you're comparing options in an area to start CrossFit, or you're moving to that city or whatever, and you're like, why is this one $150 and this one's $225 a month? Like what makes one CrossFit gym cost more than another? And I think I've come to realize, especially people that have never owned a business or been in entrepreneurship before, have only ever just like worked for an entity and been paid a salary, have less of an understanding of what goes into running a business on the cost and expense side of things. So one of the things right away is the location, obviously. You can have a cheaper CrossFit gym in a cheaper space, but it's almost certainly way on the outskirts of the city or deep in an industrial area. That's where the cheap real estate is. And so it might be less expensive to join that gym, but then what you pay in compensation for that is you're probably driving further. So it's costing you time and gas money to get there every day.
Yeah.
You want something more centrally located, right downtown. There's a CrossFit gym right downtown Toronto. Guess what? It's not cheap. Versus the one that's out by the airport is not the same price. That's two different things. If you want one that's more centrally located to, business and home where people tend to live and work, then chances are the location of that real estate costs more.
Even just how big of a city you're in, right? Mm-hmm. Like same thing, like downtown Vancouver is ridiculous. Like it's so expensive to be down there versus way out in some small town in BC is going to be totally different.
Mm-hmm. And then the equipment and the facility. How nice does the gym look? How nice are the bathrooms? How much equipment do they have?
Yeah.
In a less expensive CrossFit gym, a cheaper budget gym, they'll just have less stuff.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment in CrossFit BRIO right now. Like that stuff is not cheap. But because we charge a premium membership, we have a premium space. The facility looks nice. It's located in a convenient spot on the east side of the city. We have things that other CrossFit gyms don't get to enjoy. Full fleets of echo bikes, of rowers, of ski ergs, of indoor sleds, like you said. Enough barbells and dumbbells and kettlebells for everybody, and plenty of rig space.
Yeah.
A cheaper CrossFit gym doesn't have those things. They might have 2 ski ergs, 6 rusty barbells, 2 pull-up bar spots, and they're just making it work.
Not even ski ergs. I remember being to an affiliate way back in the day that was starting up and still really small, and there was like 12 people in this class, and they had 2 pull-up bars, a tall one and a short one. And then he was just like, well, figure it out. Mm-hmm. We try to set up our gym so that you have all of your own stuff and you get to go at your pace. You're not waiting for somebody else unless we're doing a partner workout. And that's a luxury that not every gym can have. Mm-hmm. And we charge because we're providing a more luxurious experience.
Yeah. And not to say that smaller gyms or gyms with less equipment are not good affiliates. I think some of those are some of the best affiliates because it makes you be structured in your programming, your class management. It makes people interact more. So I think some of my best experiences have been in these like crazy little gyms with not very much stuff. So, but it costs more to have more. That's just what it is. The education, if you're in a cheaper CrossFit gym, I bet if you asked around, most of the coaches either don't have a credential at all or just have their level 1.
Yeah.
It's expensive for coaches, for the gym to invest in their coaches leveling up their credentials to level 2 and level 3, and then maintaining continuing education and creating that kind of culture. that has costs associated with it. So if you're in a gym where the majority of the coaches have their 2 or 3 or 4, it's probably not a very cheap CrossFit gym. Yep. And you're going to get what you pay for, in the sense that, like, presumably through that pursuit of knowledge, those are better coaches.
For sure. Yeah, I think, like, if you go to a new city, avoid just looking on Google Maps and being like, what's the closest one? That's the one I'll join. Or what's the cheapest one? That's the one I'll join. Sometimes you will get a much better experience if you just look around and try to find the diamonds in the rough.
Mm-hmm. Class size is another way.
Yeah.
Where a gym, can, I'm going to say cut corners, but that's not necessarily right. But they'll run less classes with just huge class limits. Depends on the facility too, how many people they can maintain. To be fair, good coaches can handle large classes. That's not automatically meaning they're doing a poor job.
Some places it's just like the volume thing, right? There's all discounts and it's all cheap this and cheap that, and we'll make it work. And you end up in a class of 25, 30 people. And that's going to affect the coaching. If you have one coach and that many people in your class, you're not going to do as good of a job as if you have a capped class. Like, we cap our regular classes, we cap at 14. And then our smaller ones, we cap at 10. So you get a much higher level of, attention from the coach, just because there's less people to deal with. Mm-hmm. But again, we charge a premium. Some other places it's like cheap, but you might show up and there's a ton of people in there and it's basically, hey coach. And then that's all you get. That's the end of your coaching for the day.
Yeah. And, I love a good, big, fun class on a holiday, and you get the big community together and those kinds of things. But that's really not how we run the bulk of the classes and the programming and stuff. Those are a once in a while special treat, not an all the time.
Yeah. We try to treat those days as like the big, fun partner team workouts, and everybody has a good time. Mm-hmm. We still do what we can to, like, warm everybody up properly and go through the movements. But it's definitely, even for us, those classes are a much lower level of coaching than the ones where we get to, like, really spend the time working on mechanics.
Mm-hmm. And then I think something that separates the cost of different CrossFit gyms is whether the owner or head coach or whatever does this as their profession, their full-time job, or does it as a passion project on the side and has a full-time job.
Yeah.
So where the CrossFit gym is their side hustle. And I know great coaches that run great affiliates that have full-time jobs. And in the US, honestly, this is more of a thing where they'll have a side gig or they'll have their full-time job as a firefighter or the military or the police, because healthcare considerations, having health insurance in the US is such a big problem. Whereas we get this luxury in Canada, we don't have as much of an issue with that. So I know plenty of great coaches and affiliate owners that also have a full-time job, like being a firefighter. But certainly it's hard to do two things well.
Yeah.
It's hard to run a CrossFit gym well and have a full-time job. I know lots that have to bridge that gap in the first 1 to 5 years. And the goal is to try to quit their regular job and build up the CrossFit gym enough. But we do this, both of us, as our full-time profession, which allows us to put a ton of care and time and attention into running a great CrossFit gym, running hopefully one of the best in the world. That's the goal.
Yeah.
And do all those little things. It gives us the time and space and energy to be able to fix the equipment and keep the gym clean and maintain the website and just, run a fun community event and just all these little extras that I fully get when someone is stressed and tapped out to the max, that they just don't have time or energy for all those little things. And then the quality declines a little bit, of course. Yeah.
And I think the big thing with this whole list is we're all human, right? We all have our ups and our downs, our highs, our lows. We're going to have great weeks, bad weeks, and everything in between. So if you're at a gym and maybe they were doing some stuff and then all of a sudden it got a little weird, don't be afraid to ask about it, check in. And sometimes the coach just needs to be able to be like, you know what, I'm just super stressed. My kid's been sick, my whatever, and give them the benefit of the doubt. The general thing is the overall feel. What's the overall vibe? Are they mostly doing this stuff most of the time? You're probably at a pretty good affiliate. Mm-hmm. Even if they miss a thing, even if they miss something here or there, that's fine. But if they rarely or never do a lot of this stuff, that's when you need to start being like, is this the best I could be buying, or is there better opportunities out there? Now, all of that being said, most people are very loyal, and for whatever reason, they go to a place and they love it because of maybe your friend goes there, or maybe the coach is just the greatest guy in the world and he's the worst coach ever, but he's a great dude and you fucking love that guy. That's fine. Just remember that he's, focusing on his strengths, and there's maybe better options out there, but you can still choose to take the inferior option just because you like it better. That's totally fine. You're welcome to do that 100%. We knew a guy who was like the nicest dude, but just kind of got to the point with his affiliate where it's like, he kind of was just coasting and he doesn't even do it anymore. And that's fine. But he was a really great dude and people loved him just for his personality. Not a great coach, not great programming, not a great gym all around, but it was still fun to go to. So those ones are out there and they're still successful for the most part.
Yeah. I think if we sum it up, how do you know you're at a good CrossFit gym? The things we listed. People are friendly. The coaches are welcoming. There's that spirit of hospitality. The place is clean. The equipment's well maintained. You know, there's an investment in education and prioritizing it as something worth pursuing. Classes run well. There's good programming. There's, you know, opportunity to coach and help people get better. All of those things are reflection that people care.
Yeah.
And that's it. How do you know you're at a good CrossFit gym? There's a million reasons, examples, actions that the people there care. That's it.
Yeah.
Because if somebody doesn't care, if the owner doesn't care, the coaches don't care, that's not a good CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
And if it shows as people don't say hi to you because they don't care. The gym's kind of dirty because nobody cares. The equipment's not maintained because nobody cares. The classes don't start and end on time because people don't care. That's what that all boils down to. Is people have to care. A CrossFit gym is this wonderful little entity, this little microcosm ecosystem that just requires what it runs on. The energy system that it runs on is care.
Yeah. I think the CrossFit gym is an interesting thing because I will tell you, nobody's becoming a billionaire running a CrossFit gym. It's like contributing to society type of thing. You know, we do this because we love it and we know we're putting good into the world and we're proud of that. And it's something that, you know, we can leave our mark and try to make things better than when we started.
Yeah.
By no means are we struggling, but by no means are we ever going to retire and buy a $10 million yacht or whatever. So there needs to be care. There just needs to be, because that's what this is all about.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. If you're at CrossFit BRIO, you're welcome. And
humble brag.
No, it's because we care and we love you guys a lot. Thank you for being on this little ship of weirdness with us. But then also go drop in at other CrossFit gyms. Either have a good time or make note of why you didn't. Tell us either way. Come back and say thank you to us, you know, that you appreciate what we do, or tell us something cool that they did that we could do a better job of. I love that too. Pretty much every good idea that's happening at BRIO, we stole from somewhere else.
Most of them.
Some
of them are original.
Very few of them, I think, did we come up with. Few. We've had a few good ideas over the years. But
I love it when our people come and tell me stuff, good or bad.
Yeah,
right? Like, I'm always super open to hear. I think that workout was, and actually, I'm not open to hearing that. I don't care about your opinion. You don't like running? Too bad, you got to run. No, if you have a legitimate concern, hey, the bathroom thing's been broken for a week now, I'll be like, frick, you're right. Yeah. And sometimes we all need those reminders. So don't be afraid to talk to your coach and say, hey, what's going on with this? Why haven't we snatched in 8 months? You know, don't be afraid to communicate, because often the coach wants to hear it because they don't know that there's a problem. And if you keep that stuff to yourself, it'll continue to be unresolved. So we're an open book, good or bad. I love when people give us feedback and, you know, help us get better, because that's what we're all about. We
had a visitor with us for the last few weeks and she was like, I can't wait to go back to my gym to tell them how good it could be. And she was going back. I was like, hope you're not going to make enemies when you go back. But
stirring the pot.
I take that as a compliment, and I was like happy to hear the nice things she said, but she definitely was going home with a list of feedback for her affiliate owner. We are part of the wider world of CrossFit, the affiliates. We're proud to be a proud CrossFit affiliate, which gives us access to the wider world of other affiliates. Drop in, go visit, meet people, you know, have a good time, hopefully. And if not, whatever.
At least you, like, even if you don't have a good time, at least it'll help you appreciate what you have back home.
Yeah, exactly.
It's worth it.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
See you in the next one.